Back in Budapest for more water polo action. We've seen two quarterfinalists today go through, and we're looking at two more. So Montenegro and Croatia have already progressed into the last 8. Now, it may be seen as a bit of an ignominy that Italy are not in the quarterfinals already, but they're not. They're going to have to go through a crossover game, and it's not an easy one for them at all. It's going to be a tough encounter. Here we are at the National Swimming Stadium in Budapest. It's a wonderful complex. It's been around for many, many years, and they still do a lot of outdoor swimming here. Major events have been transferred for swimming anyway to the Duna Arena, but water polo, it's perfect for artistic swimming, as you saw last week, equally so. That's what we've seen so far. 13-7 for Croatia over Georgia. Really tight games in Montenegro and Japan. Japan calling a timeout in the last second, hoping to maybe change that result, but it wasn't possible. And still to come, we have South Africa against the USA. That's got a 6:30 start. But this could be a very tricky little encounter for the Italians. They should be favorites. They have the bulk of their team that won the gold in Gwangju 3 years ago, but they're not quite firing on all cylinders yet, as we saw against Spain, where they lost by 14 goals to 12. And they've only had the 2 games to get themselves in this position. So Australia might fancy their chances. They were winners 10-4 over Kazakhstan. They only lost by 1 to Serbia, and they were on the wrong end of a 14-9 scoreline to USA. Italy will, of course, come in as the favourites, but the fact they're having to play this extra game will not be great for them. Here are the previous results for the Italians. Not surprisingly, they took South Africa apart, but Spain came back. Spain won the first period, and they won the last in that game. Italy were caught cold right at the end, and Australia had 3 games. 1-1, very narrow loss, and then a slightly bigger one against the USA. So we still don't really know what kind of form Italy are in yet. And we know that they're maybe a little bit undercooked. They were against Spain, most definitely. They looked to have that game secured, and then Spain ran away with it in the last quarter. Here are our officials for today. Frank Omi from Germany and Georgios Stavridis from Greece. Well, keep an eye on the penalty count, because George Negus has been racking them up, and Tim Putt was excluded in the last game. For the most part, the Italians have kept out of foul trouble. That will be key today. And it's always been key that Australia have lost a couple of their very important players at key times, as they did against the USA. Now, for this fixture, Australia will be the away side on the game sheet, so they will get introduced first. And they've gone with Nick Porter for the majority of this competition. In fact, he's only missed a minute of their opening games. John Hedges is probably going to be sitting it out for a while in this one. Keenan Marsden is their number 2, and again, he's not really had much ball time yet. We're into the big hitters now, though. George Ford has had the second amount of ball time. Very key player, and he'll almost certainly be in their starting 6. Next up is Charlie Negus, and here's Nathan Power. Scores big goals. Up against big opposition. Tomac Janet is number 6. Luke Pavillard, their left-handed shooter. The Italians have 2 rather, and the Australians have 1. Reece Holden is number 6. Number 8 for the Australians. Riley Townsend got his first goal for the Australians in the previous game against the USA. Had to wait a little while, but he's on the board. Tim Putt is number 10 for them. Let's say he's got 7 personal fouls against him, the most penalised of the Australian players thus far. Chaz Poot, also that slight complication that they come back-to-back. The putt and the Poot, 10 and 11, and their captain, very influential, the man who sets most of their play up, is Blake Edwards, and he wears number 12. Well, so if you take the Serbian result away, which is very nearly a tie, it's only really the USA they've given Australia a bloody nose so far, but the Italians will be hoping to do that themselves. Only the 2 games under their belt. So this, in effect, is game number 3 for the Italians, who will lead off with their captain, Marco Del Longo. Here he comes. Followed by, very soon afterwards, the first of their outplayers numerically, Francesco De Fulvio. All the outplayers have scored goals for Italy thus far in their 2 games. Luca De Monti will follow De Fulvio on to the pool deck. Here he comes. Their youngest player is going to be coming on next. Matteo Iocci, number 4. He's fit in quite nicely. He's had quite a bit of pool time, comparable to most of those established ones. Anyway, Andrea Fondelli is the Italian number 5. 2 players with a lot of experience. There's going to be one coming up who's got bags of experience in just a moment, but here's Giacomo Canella. We'll have the number 6 cap on for Italy today. And here is the old man of the Italian team. He won't like me saying that too much, but he is 31 this year. Luca Marziali, Gonzalo Echenique, with the Spanish name, who plays for Italy. Nicolas Brasiotto is the Italian number 9. Number 10 is Lorenzo Bruni. He's been pretty good on the personal foul count, only 1 so far. Eduardo de Somma is 11 for the Italians. And Vincenzo Dolci makes up their outplayers. So only 1 goalkeeper remaining to introduce, and that is Gianmarco Nicosia, who's actually had the bulk of the time between the posts for them. Marco Del Longo, the captain, has taken second best for the most like. There's the coach, Alessandro Campagna for Italy. We did get a glimpse of the Australian coach too, Tim Hamill. And as is customary at water polo games, we'll get the anthem, so it'll be Australia's first, followed by Italy. love it. And the crowd loves it too, as they always do with the Italian national anthem, whether you have Italian heritage or you're a supporter of them. It's a very difficult anthem to ignore. It's an anthem that stirs the blood. Well, the Italians will go into this as the favourites, no doubt about that, or they should do on the back of their gold medal in Guangzhou 3 years ago. But as you mentioned, they're not really quite where they need to be or want to be. And they certainly did not want to be involved in an extra game, i.e. this crossover game. Australia will give them a stiff test. Will they have enough in the locker? Well, we'll discover in the next 32 minutes. A couple of key players to watch out for. Mark Chicardo, Nathan Power, also the Australian captain Blake Edwards. And Eduardo de Sommer has been the player who's been scoring the bulk of the goals for the Italians in the 2 games that they've played so far. Also weighing in with 5, Andrea Fondelli. So there you have it. Bags and bags of experience. I mentioned half that team were successful in South Korea in 2019. Coach, the natty shades. It's a very warm day. Very warm day. It's 33 degrees. Temperature will be pretty warm too. Well, gold medalists last time, 4 times world champions, 3 times Olympic gold winners. But what have they got today? What have Australia got today? More to the point, this is their lineup. And it's a pretty good mix of experience and youth. They're just starting to blood a few more. Riley Townsend is their youngest, but wasn't on the scene for the World Championship last time round. Tim Hamill is their coach. They will have learned a lot from their encounter with the USA. Probably learned a bit more from their match with Serbia, where only 11 goals were scored. They were very good. And this is one thing that Australia can do and have done when they've been at their best, when they've finished 5th at the Olympics and 4th of the World Champs, is be strong, be very good defensively. And they need to combine that today with some outright shooting and some positive shooting as well. I think if they use the shot clock and work it down, it won't work to their favor. Yeah, just confirming what it says on my computer, 33 degrees it is in Budapest, and we have a forecast for it to get quite a bit warmer over the next couple of days. Well, the Italians are, as you might imagine, up for this. But so too are the Aussies. You never see the Aussies in international competition not be competitive and not really give their all. So Italy, Australia, white caps for the Italians. And I will say blue caps for the Australians, but no, it's green and gold today, as it invariably is. Referees from Germany and from Greece, Frank Omi and Georgios Stavridis. Just checking everybody's in position where they should be. And we will get things underway. First sprint. Should be competitive, this. Who's going to get there first? Italy, look, the favourites are the favourites. And they'll take the first possession with De Fulvio. Echenique. Maybe under pressure from George Ford. Managing to eat a few more seconds off that clock. De Fulvio. Look how deep they are. They've got 11 seconds to start to work their way into that 2-meter area, or close to it anyway. Echenique. First attempt. Not a successful one. It's amazing how often off the sprints they don't get a goal. It's a rarity these days. Negus. Again, kind of what I was suggesting, quick transition for the Australians is probably going to work best for them today. Negus. Pavillard. Their left-handed shooter. George Ford waiting back for the shot. 11 seconds, that comes off the bar, there isn't a touch. And that means the play will turn over and be the property of the Italians. That's a long, long, long pass intended for Gonzalo Echenique. He did get there first, but didn't have anybody else to farm the ball out to. Preciuto. To Fulvio, trying to pick his corner. Preciuto. Good block. Charlie Negus. And away the Australians will come. So, minute and a half. A few shots, but nothing registering yet. There's Pavillard there. Left-handed shooter just moving forward, waiting for ball from the captain Edwards. That's nice, but also blocked. Central position taken up by their goalie today. Italians looking for an option. That is the option, the best option from Francesco Del Fulvio. And that is the Italians on the board in quarter one. Yeah, it's interesting today that the Italians have gone with experience. Their captain, Marco De Longa, not with Nicosia, who has played the bulk of the minutes for them. First goal for the Italians from Francesco De Fulvio. Fifth of the competition for him. Pavillard will bring it in. We'll look for the on-rushing forward. Edwards, forward. Still no option, and they'll get it back. And the shot comes in, but it's not one that's going to trouble overtly. Longo. He's hit the outside of the frame of the goal, and away it goes to safety. Italy. Oh, there's going to potentially be an exclusion here. There will be exclusion for George Ford. And also results in a penalty for Andrea Fondelli. Chance for him to the Italians 2 to the good. Just waiting for the Australian to disappear into the substitute area on the far side. And here comes the Italian shot, and that will be a goal. That will count. Came in and came out very quickly, but it was certainly in the back of the net from Fondelli. And Italy 2, Australia 0. They've had the start they wanted. Australia haven't really formulated anything yet. They've got John Hedges in net for them. They've gone with their backup goalie. Ineffective the times they've spent between the posts this time. George Ford. Wait for it to come back into his slipstream. Reclaims it. Ford. It's Holden. Ford, very central, but too far out, surely, for the shot. Yeah, they'll look to Putz. Shot clock is disappearing rapidly here. They may not get a shot in if they're not careful. They're not going to get one, not the telling one anyway. Shot clock was nearly done. Preciuto for the Italians. De Somma. Preciuto, center of the goal. De Monti. De Somma. Ooh. And that's going to be an exclusion for Tom McJanet. So man advantage for the Italians. De Somma. Looking good. This A circular movement from the, or semicircular movement from the Italians, and it is very effective in the end from Giacomo Cannella. 4:02 remaining in the first, and Cannella scores from open play to add to the goals from Fondelli and De Fulvio that started things off. Well, that's what you have all to do, even at this stage. Thought they might come out firing. Well, they tried, but the Italians are just better than them right now, which is no surprise. Edwards played in behind Ford. Ford looks, there's a bottom corner open there. There was for a second, then that option was not there anymore. Still looking at that bottom, as we look, left-hand corner, right-hand corner for the goalie. Here's the shot, and it's slightly squirmed away from De Longo. Easy pickings for the Italian captain. I think they'll be pretty happy with the way things have started from their point of view. Iocci. Going deep to De Fulvio. It's a long way out. Trying to get something into that 2-meter range. Not able to do it this time. That just squirms away and will be claimed by John Hedges. Already has used 10 seconds of the shot clock before it's dispatched to George Ford. Or to Edwards. That's better, and at least it brings a save out of Marco De Longo. That means they'll get an extra 20 seconds. You get the shot away, and it's deflected by the goalie. It's a 20-second shot clock. Shot going to come in from George Ford. Is it? No, it's not. Again, just delayed a little bit. Italians are getting quite animated. That's a near side, close range shot, and it'll be a save, as it's deemed by the official. So Australia get another 20 seconds. Pavillard, left-hand shooter, looks to shoot, still can't. Ford, it's a very good D this by the Italians, just forcing them further and further out, and then they really just have the option of shooting from a long, long way out. So what we're talking about, the Italian defence, we speak about it in other sports, but it's very, very rock solid when they're on top of their game in water polo. De Monti, one of the two left-handed shooters they have. De Fulvio opened the scoring for them. Seems a long time ago now. De Fulvio looks and shoots, and that's an easy claim for John Hedges. Now again, taking all of 11 seconds this time to distribute the ball. Finds Nathan Power. Chances are there for Edwards this time. Edwards is, well, it's a very acute angle, then gets the ball into Nathan Power. But there wasn't that much that number 5 could do. Did take a little ricochet of Cannella, which could have rerouted it. He didn't. De Monti to De Fulvio. He's been subbed out, yeah. He's been in there for the duration of the first 7 minutes. Oh dear, that's unfortunate. And that will be celebrated by Luca De Monti, but that's one of those that the goalie can do little or nothing about. Makes the initial stop, comes back and bounces off his back and into the goal. So they'll claim it. Off the woodwork, off your back, into the goal. Goal number 4 for Italy. It doesn't matter whether it's a classic goal or a lucky ricochet. Luca De Monti will take it, as will Italy. putt for the Australians. A little bit more urgency, I think, in their play, Pavillard. But again, it's just a wall of white caps. Very, very difficult to get through. It's going to be exclusion for the Italians, so there will be one-man advantage for Australia. Can they make it count? Can they open their scoring? All of the above, maybe, maybe not. Wide from George Ford. Oh, the accuracy on the shooting is not there. They're still waiting for the first goal. It looks like they might be blanked, probably will be blanked in the first 8 minutes. And that will have touched the hand of John Hedges. Back it goes behind the goal. And that will be a reset. Well, they won't get 20 seconds. There's not 20 seconds left in the quarter. Only 4. And there's going to be a timeout called by the Italians, who have little time on the clock. They have long enough to get the shot in, though, so let's see what their coach Campagna has to say. That's the end of the period. Italy 4, Australia 0. So the goals from De Fulvio, from De Monti, from Fondelli and from Canella, and really, gotta be honest, not too much to speak about or to get enthused about from an Australian point of view right now. Everything going just as Alessandro Campagna would have wanted. There won't be that many on this highlights reel involving the Australian shooters. That was one, which did require a stop to be made by Marco Del Longa. They've gone with the captain as their option between the posts today. Fulvio starting the scoring. Was that one penalty shot? They're all looking pretty comfortable from an Italian point of view at the moment. There's the stats. Well, nothing on the right-hand side at all to examine. Left-hand side, though, shot efficiency 4 out of 8. And they'll take that. 4 goals in the first. It is a little bit of an affront, maybe an insult, that the defending champions are finding themselves in this position, but Spain look very strong, and it would not surprise me if things work out that way, that those two in the final. It's a long way away. That's obviously Sunday. And they've got to get there first. Australia in a classification game if they lose this one. Second of the sprints. The Whitecaps of Italy win it. The green and gold have to retreat as the first attack of quarter 2 gets underway with Fondelli. Always available. Our right wing is Echenique. Being hassled by Negus, but he still gets the pass away. Fondelli. Just dribbles back into the path of John Hedges. This one away a bit more smartly. Pavillard wants to carry it, isn't allowed to carry it, because again the Italians do what best teams do. They stick one man up the ball to make that advance as difficult as possible. So he reduces the options. So Sommer swims away with it. Nearest to him, the white cap is Dolce. He'll miss him out and go to Echenique instead. Echenique, oh, it's a pull wide pass, which was trying to unsettle John Hedges. He moved across to cover it pretty well. Lions keep possession. 18 seconds with that reset. Fondelli. Dolce. It's into no man's land. We'll come back off the goal line, and the Australians will get it back. Hedges picks out Tim Putts. Quick release to Edwards. Edwards under pressure, so where there will be an exclusion for the Italians. They'll lose Marziali. So 6 on 5 for Australia now. They're working it out wide. They haven't really got anybody to give it to in the centre yet. That's good. That's better. That gets them underway. And of course, it's the captain who steps up to do just that. Blake Edwards. Well, they've got in on Tim Putt. I thought that was 12. Looked to me like it was 12. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. What, 12? It's 12, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's Blake Edwards. So they'll change that. They'll correct that. They have now put it on the system as number 12. There you go. Fondelli for the Italians. They'll be trimmed to 3. Defense covered by George Ford, not too aggressive. Doesn't get the exclusion, but needs to be a little bit careful because he's a bit prone to picking up some fouls. Another rotation, another rotation. They're probably overdoing it on this. And the ball will be back with Australia. Italians just overplaying on that one. Giving possession back. Townsend thought about the quick release and decided against it. Might have another one now. Gonna go short side. Well, they were celebrating down below, the Australians. They had a better view of that than me, but let's have a look and see whether that snuck in. It did. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Just a little bit of a delay to confirm it. They were celebrating down below with the Australian contingent straight away, but it took a while for that to be given as a goal. Now it has been confirmed. We have the technology that won't be needed. Right, since the start of the comeback. It's 4-2 up. 4-0 up at the end of the first. Australia have scored both the goals in the second so far. Fulvio back in again. They need him just to steer the ship in the right direction. Oh, he's so good from that range. Francesco De Fulvio started the scoring, and every time he gets that ball in the center of the pool from that distance out, you always fancy him. And 2 out of 3 have hit the spot. Good work, De Fulvio. And Italy have their first of the second quarter. De Fulvio's such a rocket shot. Oh, that's so much. He always seems to be on target. Havillard, as Australia gets the ball back. Oh, nearly taken away by the aforementioned Italian number 2. Power. One of the options. Well, option is to get something away quickly. It's 10 seconds on the shot clock. Nearly nice work. Just came off the bar. There was no touch from the goalie en route, or else there would be a 20-second reset. It's a 30-second shot clock for the Italians, which will be started by Marco Del Lungo. Luca De Monti will swing towards the goal. as they hand it over to De Sommer. Hasn't scored yet. He's got most of the, well, got 6 goals, leading scorer. There was no touch from John Hedges. So that Italian move comes to nothing. Avellard, that's into good position. Surely he's going to shoot. Oh, yes, he shoots, and it's the follow-up that's going to count. Riley Townsend will get the credit for that because it wasn't over the line from the initial shot. Townsend following in, anticipating there might need to be a hand placed on it. Does just that and just pokes it home. Easiest goal he'll probably score. And Australia are starting to make a game of this. Look like for all my big build-up, Australia might disappoint, but they're not disappointing now. 3 goals to 1. They lead in this. They are trailing by 2, but 4-0 down, and there is certainly life in this Australian team. Canella going deep. 2 number 10s are locked together, Bruni and Putt, which the referees keep a very close eye on. And Bruni gets a dunking at least twice there from Putt. Rasiuti. Good stop, good firm stop as well from the Australian goalie. Nice work by John Hedges. That was not a lucky save. Look, got a firm palm on that. Nathan Power. Do you think Australian, if they have quick transition, look a better team, don't give the Italians a chance to set. Putt is centre, but he's got 1, 2, 3 players in the way and just doesn't have time to get that shot away. Yeah, that's the occasion where the Italians managed to stack the front of the goal and there's nowhere really for him to shoot. There's Canella to Rasiuti, to Monti. So pretty well to hold them at bay on this shot clock. It's nearly down to 10. A very good block, and Australians will get the ball back. Well, I don't know if it was the team talk in between periods 1 and 2, but Australia have come out as a different team since the restart. They're looking like they can compete and want to mix it. Nathan Power, all on his own at the moment, will get Pavillard involved. Pavillard with that left-handed shot. There is a nice obliging corner for him to maybe fill it into, but no, that's pretty weak, a pretty tame opportunity not taken. Just over 2 to remain in this quarter. It's with Echenique. Nicely done. Nicely done. That's more of what he wants from his team. That will go the way of Martiali. So all individual goals scored, all 6 goals scored by different players so far. And Italy 6, Australia 3. Remember, the winners of this, as all the games today, will progress to the quarterfinals. The loser goes into the classification games to get their world ranking. Avellard, haven't seen much of him yet. Australia could do with that. The left-handed shooter is so key to open things up. Putt, thinking, not shooting. Puts it into the area where there was Australia. There's going to be an exclusion for the Italians. So, and the man to go is going to be De Sommer. Still plenty of time on the clock for the Australians to shoot. It's coming, but how soon is it coming? Edwards maybe. Negus maybe. post, maybe. Edwards again. Oh, just didn't get hold of that at all. And De Monte was in the way. So that was all the cards stacked in favour of Australia. They didn't manage to do it. They had the man advantage. They had possession right in front of the net. They had lots of people with a good look at that goal. None taken. To Sommer for the Italians. I think we're going to lose Charlie Negus for Australia. We are. His first yellow card. De Monte. Oh, straightforward, really, for Eduardo de Sommer. And he goes on to 7 goals personal for the tournament. Leading scorer for the Italians in their 2 games thus far. And Australia will have 1 possession to round off this first half, which is better from their point of view. They have, at the moment, tied this quarter, 3 apiece, after trailing 4-0 at the first interval. Dirty putt. Blake Edwards. Couple to his name already. Putt. Long, long, long way out. Is he going to shoot from there? No, he's going to give it to Edwards instead. Putt again. They don't make any progress, though, are they? Getting towards the goal. They're going to run out of time, and they have run out of time. 30 seconds shot clock. Sounds like a long time until you get in the range, but of course, well, we're going to get timeout. So that's the end of the second as they swim off for a little chat with the coach. A couple of minutes to see what they can do to send it in a different direction. Italy 7, Australia 3. Well, it was certainly a more competitive second period than was the first. Would have been difficult to achieve that, though. 4-0 for the defending champions in the opening 8 minutes. And some good quality goals along the way. De Fulvio starting things off. De Monte involved. Fondelli, Canella, Marziali, and De Sommer. But Tim Hamill's between-period chat had the desired effect. They came out a bit more fired up, the Australians, and they managed to get 3. Riley Townsend poking one in, and a couple from the captain, Blake Edwards. There's the one that he struck into the corner. I think it's the shot that took a ricochet, and Townsend, no, that's the one that went into the corner. Townsend is there for a ricochet, which bobbled out in his direction. They've been popping them in on regular occurrence. That was the one from Townsend. She anticipated the shot coming in, and anticipated there might just be a rebound. And so there was for him. They hadn't scored up until the last game against the USA. 2 back-to-back games and 2 back-to-back goals. So the tale of the tape after 2 quarters. Italy achieving a 50% shot efficiency. Australia, well, at least they're on the board, and they had 0 against their name at the end of 8. Personal fouls, no concerns yet for either side. Not a lot of fouls being collected, but when they get to 2, obviously that's when things start to get a little bit more problematic. Still to come, we have South Africa against the USA. That will complete the quarter-final lineup. Italy looking like they Well, if they don't, it would be a big surprise, but they've done the hard work. They've broken the back of the Australians from that first period. Not to say they can't come back or won't come back. Two sprints won by the white-capped Italians, going for 3 in a row. They have some sprinters in their ranks, including Francesco De Fulvio, who is the man who gets to the ball first, and Italy will have the first possession. Playing from right to left in the second half. Fulvio under pressure from Bruce Holden, decides to distribute that and get that away from danger. Back around it comes with Dolce. Fondelli. Oh, that's going to be given away. Australia will reclaim possession. They've gone for... The goal has not had barely any time between the posts. That's John Hedges. They've opted to go with him, not Nick Porter, give Porter a bit of a breather. And they'll not get anything from that. George Ford looks a little bit aggrieved that the ball didn't arrive with him, but it didn't. The Italians can bring it rapidly back in the other direction. Gonzalo Echenique. No green and gold cap anywhere near him. Get a chance to set up the play again, and then he is thwarted by George Ford, but not thwarted for long. Shot go just wide. So instructions being barked on the far side. It's not the Australian coaches making that noise, by the way. With Holden to Hutz. Will lose Fondelli. So here comes a timeout from the Australians, because they've got the man advantage and they're in the Italian end. So Tim Hamill will try and construct some sort of move to get them with their 4th goal on the board. Here he is.
We're going first 6 in, first 6 starters. We're going both in 2. Again, same as last night. Luke Pavlard, you'll start in the 5 position. Charlie, exactly like last night. Get to the middle. Here, cross hit, look for Luke Short. We're playing both in 2. Let's go, Nathan. Spread out. Start. Spread out. Nice and wide. Wide early.
Well, if it's wide early, probably means that Blake Edwards will be involved, because that's what happens when they go wide. They involve their captain. 6 on 5 for the Australians. 20 seconds. Start when the ball is back in play. It is now. Now they've talked about what they want to do. They're playing it out wide. You heard that call. Well, that's all very well if you can play the ball out wide, but if it's intercepted by Canella, as it was, then that plan goes out of the window. So what could have been a good rotation turns out to be no rotation at all. De Fulvio, quick work by the Italians, and that's where they are particularly good and decisive. And on this occasion, it was a second for Giacomo Canella. When they are positive and quick and the passing is crisp, and it was on that occasion, that shows and underlines why they were the world champions in 2019. And why other teams will fear them. No, Spain didn't when they met the other day, but another day, another match, and Italy will be a bit crisper probably next time round. Pavlard. Again, under pressure. There's no influence on this game yet. So Longo, the goalie has, and certainly De Fulvio has. De Fulvio, the number 2, has had a massive impact in the game. Scored a goal, but also it's the defensive work he is doing. There'll be a turnover, and the ball will come back with Echenique. Yeah, it's been a very good performance by De Fulvio, involved in pretty much everything that's been good for the Italians. Canella, De Fulvio. Brasiuti. Iochi made as if to shoot and didn't, and then leaves it instead to Canella. And that will be Canella's hat-trick, and Italy go 9-3 up. So it's going to go Echenique. It's going to go to him, number 8, not number 6. Echenique, so 2 for Canella now. Fulvio on 1, De Monte on 1, Fondelli on 1, Echenique on 1, De Sommer on 1. Australia have that little purple patch in the second quarter. They haven't scored for a while now. Putt. To Pavlard. Nicely done, and not over. He looks back and says, was that or was it not? They might have to go and check that. Nathan Power thought that had crossed the line, and the officials will go and have a look at it. Yeah, both of the referees are now in accord that they are going to go and check it. Whoa, well, we've seen them given for similar positions of the ball, so I'm not going to call this one until they have decided. They're going to have a look, but it's a marginal one. They've got a better look. The VAR goal check is taking place. It'll be a 4th for Australia, or it'll get wiped out. He's looking at it long and hard, so it's not an easy decision for the referee to make. He has made a decision, and we will see what it is when he comes back out. Is he going to wag his finger, or is he going to give the goal? There you go. There's your answer. No wag of the finger, though. Everybody else seems to do the wag of the finger job. Not our referee today. Very understated. Besides, that ball did not cross the line. Dolce. Brasiuti. Ball played over the top. A little reverse, but there's too many green and gold caps in and around the shooter. So it's back with John Hedges. Kicks out Chaz Poot. Chaz Poot immediately descended upon by Lorenzo Bruni. Edwards. Gone centre, not wide this time. Edwards to Poot. And they're going to throw this one away again. 4:11 in this quarter. And it will be another reset of 20. Chaz Poot. Pavlard. Get himself centred for the left-handed shot. He's still a long, long way out. Comes back around, still where he was, hasn't advanced at all. Chaz Poot. Shot clock is nearly done, and that's a throwaway. Well, Australia, as we mentioned, scored 3 in fairly rapid time in the second. They haven't looked like doing so for a while now. Italy have regained command. 9-3 with Dolce. Canella. Dolce, long way out. Is he going to try a little blast? I do occasionally take those blasts to try and disconcert the goalie, but it won't be the case this time because Timothy Putt intercepts. 3:11 on the quarter. And there's going to be an exclusion for Brasiuti. Yeah, Brasiuti as his second. Now he needs to be a bit careful. But 6-on-5, Australia. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Got to come now. Got to come now. And there's the ricochet and good old battle with the goalie. And that's going to be Australian ball. So it came back off the goalkeeper. Reset to 20. 1 second remaining of that man advantage, which they now don't have. Pavlard. Poot. And the goalie is favoured to get that one first. Well, no, he's not. They've given it back to Australia. Second shot clock re-established for the Australians. Poot. There are two different people, 10 and 11. But Pavlard to hold on to that. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, and a little nod of appreciation from the shooter that's kind of what they wanted more of earlier on. Jazz Poot. First goal in the game. Got a very respectable look back from his teammate, Tim Putt. And Poot finds the corner. They've wanted that for a while. Long overdue. Been a very barren period for Australia, but they get another one on the board. Townsend, Poot, and 2 from Edwards for the Australians. 5-goal differential at the moment. Dolce. And Australians just get a little bit more physical, trying to stop the Italians coming at will. De Sommer. De Sommer then is held down. And that will result in a penalty shot for the Italians. De Fulvio, who deserves to have the ball in his hand because he's been magic for the Italians. Second goal, absolutely. In and out very quickly, but it was the in part that mattered. In fact, it'll take him to 3. They're going to do the other goals. And that's why that was a penalty, and this is how you take a penalty. Right into the corner from De Fulvio. Just don't stop those. Cannot stop those. Oh, he's been mustard today as De Fulvio. Really good. Pavlard. Negus. Centre is Nathan Powell. Hasn't had the impact on the game that he has on other ones sometimes. Pavlard. Who's going to win that one? Well, it's going to be Australian ball. It's a foul, and there's going to be exclusion for Fondelli. Archie is the man that makes his way, and that's a good block from the goalie from that shot. He wins, but he got himself fully in behind that. Italians with Canella. Back into the centre. There's 2 Australians immediately leap on top. So here comes the extra man and the timeout as well, which the Italians will take. And we will hear from Alessandro Campagna as to what they're about to do.
Giacomo, vai a 4. Facciamo il 40, anzi partiamo da 14 Luca, 14 Giacomo, 41. Tu ti vai a mettere al secondo palo e ti apri, non ti vai a chiudere, capito? E tu Marzia aspetta casomai da lui. Se nell'eventualità Deddi contro movimento, se c'è Deddi, va bene? Deddi ci può essere pure Marzia. O Marzia. Edo a 3.
So man advantage. 10-4 advantage. Italy looking to just stretch away a bit further. Oh, not a good shot from the referee. Went right over the head of the goalkeeper. An apologetic hand raised by the ref. So you will try and use their 20-second clock advisedly. They don't though, because of the block from John Hedges. Got Feral palm on that one. So timeout didn't really work. Six-man didn't really work. Pavlard. A bit of open pool here for the shot. Well, that was then immediately closed down. Two Italians came together like a pair of curtains to stop that route to goal. And there's three of them swarming on that one. They make it so difficult. There was just a glimmer for about a second, and then all of a sudden three players came together to make sure that option was not there anymore. Canella. In the corner it goes. And that will be his third. Giacomo Canella joins Francesco De Fulvio. 3 goals apiece. And Italy seemingly en route to the quarterfinals. 11-4. And that will signify the end of period number 3. So a shared second period, but that has been more dominant from the Italians after the restart. 4 in the first and 4 in the third. They are in sight of the last 8. It's Italy 11, Australia 4 after 3. Well, I suppose there was hope springing eternal in the Australian breasts in the second period, because they got it back to something towards respectability at 7-3, but then 4 goals in the third for only one in reply has changed the whole course of this one. It made it look a much more arduous, far more difficult task for Australia to hold in this one. And Francesco De Fulvio has been absolute star man for the day. He's put away a penalty shot, but it's been his all-round game that's been impressive. Started the scoring. He's been involved in pretty much all the good stuff. Barely been out of the pool. They've taken him out for a while, but he's back in to give his influence. All the sprints so far have gone the way of the Italians, and all those stats are going the way of the Italians too. 55% shot efficiency, action shots 5 out of 12. They are ready to commence period 4 and most likely win sprint number 4. We'll discover that very shortly. John Hedges remains in the Australian net. Referees making sure they're right back on that goal line, because they're not. They're just encroaching a little bit. Just waiting also for the player to be in the corner box rather than actually just swimming alongside the distraction. So sprints 3 have been won. Sprint 4 has now been won by Italy, who can set the tempo and set the start of the 4th quarter the way they want. Fulvio, not surprisingly, is the man there to get them that possession. He has done just that on every single occasion. Here he is on the ball in the centre of the Australian end. Canella. Sommer. What an attempt that was from the number 11. Not just an attempt, but a conversion too. And whilst he's not had as many shots as he has done in other games, when it comes and it's available to him, it's a quality one. And that was a reflex shot. All right, did catch a bit of John Hedges, it's true, but that was traveling at a fair old lick to make it difficult for him. Pavlard not had the influence on this game I thought he might. It's back with the Italians, and they've got Gianmarco Nicosia now in there. And that one goes right into, I think, the face of the Australian goal. It was certainly quite high up on the body. So it remained at 12-4. That one was not converted. Holden. There's going to be an exclusion for the Italians as that ball is popped in. So just as the Italian player was making his way across, Blake Edwards brings up his hat-trick. That was Marziali who was being dispatched. Edwards kept his eye on the target and registers a hat-trick. So De Fulvio has 3 for Italy. And he now has 3 for the Australians. And of course, there's also 3 for Cannella as well. 3 hat-trick scorers in this, 2 for Italy and 1 for Australia. 12-5. 6:34 remaining in the game. It's back with De Fulvio. Oh, easily done. So easily done. When we get to that kind of range, they are really difficult to stop. And it is Lorenzo Bruni this time who gets on the score sheet. So go down the goal scorers. De Fulvio has obviously got his hat-trick. De Monti has scored as well. Fondelli, Cannella, Echenique, Bruni and De Sommer with a couple. It's a good all-round team performance by the Italians, kind of what they wanted and would have been requested of them before this game started. Holden, short side, no. That was the option, but newly installed Gianmarco Nicosia is equal to the task. Ford, Tim Putt. Toss plate, a little short pass to McJanet, who isn't able to take it, and the Italians can swim away with it with Francesco De Fulvio. I'm just amazed he covers as much of the pool as he does. He always seems to be thereabouts with the ball. And it's going to be an exclusion for Janet, is it? Yeah, the number 6 for Australia. So 6-on-5 for Italy. Going to the goal line, playing across the goal line. It's like they're playing catch, isn't it? Well, when they get to the end of that little interchange, they give it to Eduardo De Sommer, who says, "Thank you very much, gentlemen. That shall be mine." And 3 goals for him too. So 4 hat-trick scorers in this game, 3 for Italy and 1 for Australia. The importance now, I suppose, overall is that Italy are conclusively, comprehensively progressing to the quarterfinals. No real alarms today, apart from that little purple patch that Australia had in period number 2, and they did tie that period at 3-all, but either side of that has been domination from the defending champions. George Ford, Tim Putt, there's Edwards, going very deep. Shot clock down to 10. Putt, De deflection, so they have an extra 20 seconds, of course. It comes off the goalie. And of course, they've got the shot away, so that's what resets that. It's not going to happen. It's a bit of a holding down, says the referee. So even though they thought they'd scored, they haven't. And Italy with Dolce will come streaming through the centre of the pool. And they'll look for the centre pass. Actually, it was a behind in the end. Still will be reclaimed by Dolce. Aussies defending for their lives and making sure there isn't an easy shot, and that one cannons off the bottom of the post. And luckily on this occasion it does not deflect off John Hedges, who is back in possession as we enter the last half of the last quarter. Good block. Well, both goalies are very much attuned to what they need to do here. We saw a lot of De Longo early on. Now we're seeing a lot of Gianmarco Nicosia. Fondelli. And that's a race to the goal, which will be lost by the Australian goalie, and the goal will be given. Well, I could see a lot of people now. Now, has it been given or has it not? Let's have a look at it again. Pushed in by Marziali, but it's going to be a penalty instead. So replace that goal with the penalty. It should be taken by Iocci. So same result in a slightly different way. Iocci does convert. A lot of people down below me couldn't quite work out why the original goal wasn't given. But it doesn't matter because the goal, with a penalty goal rather than the field goal, will count. It's a bit of damage limitation, I reckon, now for Australia. 15-5. They might say that's a slightly unkind and slightly skewed result, but they have been by far the best of the two teams. Australia will have a shot, and again it will be saved. And there's the exclusion for the Italian, but he's spent so long getting into the corner. He'll be back out any second now. That was an exclusion where it took him ages to get to the corner, and once he'd arrived there, it was pretty much the end of that 20 seconds. Fondelli. Now that's a turnover. Australia have had few and far between numbers of those. They have 3 minutes to maybe inflict a goal or two on the Italians. Marsden. But that will be not reclaimed by the Australians. That will be an Italian ball. Turnover foul by McJanet. That's John Hedges on the other end. Waiting to see what his opposite number, Gianmarco Nicosia, might do with the delivery. They're going to go short side, off the woodwork it comes, then the rebound comes out to Marziali, and he can't put it away. Running down towards 2 minutes. Well, 3 hat-trick scorers for the Italians, so getting that player of the game award is going to be quite difficult. That snuck in. Yeah. Roar from the Australians, the Australian contingent, that is. Fairly muted response from the Australian players, but that is a second for Chaz Poot. as they now start to get themselves prepared for the classification game. Italy into the last 8. Still one more quarterfinal to be played. So one later on, immediately following this, South Africa against the USA. Australia have already faced the Americans, lost to them by 14 goals to 9. The Italians were definitely smarting from that reverse against the Spanish, but they've looked much more comfortable, much crisper today in their delivery in pretty much every way. De Monte, very deep, 11 seconds, and they'll just give it a little poke. That's all it requires, just a redirection. Not as spectacular as some of the goals they've scored, but Bruni won't care because you don't get extra marks for artistic interpretation. All you do is just redirect it. Held it for a while there, did Iochi. Just long enough for his teammate to work out exactly how he's going to redirect that ball, and that's precisely what he did do. 1:28 remaining in the game. Australia should have 2 more possessions, but they'd like to make something of the first one if they could. Down to 13 seconds on the shot clock. Look how deep they are again. Can they create anything from that far out? Well, it had to be a shot to nothing. And even though he's still relatively cold in terms of coming into the game late, Gianmarco Nicosia was not going to have too many problems with that. Echenique. Could only be right for De Fulvio to finish off the scoring, really. So instrumental and so influential has he been in the game. There's going to be exclusion for Australia and a timeout being called by Italy. So ready to construct some other piece of brilliance for the Italian team is their head coach Alessandro Campagna, who will have a few words to say.
Facciamo il 14 che tu esci e si accentra Francesco, però ti appoggi a Cialo, tu rientri che te la può dare Cialo e Francesco si sposta. Si può tirare bene, se no gliela ridà Cialo. Fate 2-3, 2-3, 2-3.
Ma i 14 la do a 2, capito?
Franci, la vuoi da 2 o da canna la palla? Da canna? Da 2. Da Cialo? Da 2. Oh, la vuoi da 2? Da canna, da canna.
Well, it's not a massive differential between the game clock and the shot clock. There's 20, and they do have that man advantage. 6 on 5. They've got their main man out there too. Fulvio won't be involved in the play just yet, though. As they're rotating now, they involve him. Looks and shows and doesn't shoot, and then it just slipped out of his palm. He reclaims it. A little lob off the bar. And then the rebound is collected, and the rebound is selected. Luca De Monte is second, and the Italians running right to a certain extent, 17-6. A nice one-sided scoreline from their point of view, and that's 6 in this period for just 2 in reply. It's been their most profitable 8 minutes of the game. One more possession for Australia. Is there anything they can do with it? Last 9. Last 5. Needs to come from distance. Needs to go from distance, and blocked by Luca De Monte. And all things considered, a very professional job done by the defending champions. Never really looked disconcerted, never really looked like any alarm was creeping into their play. And what will be concerning for those about to face them is they got stronger as the match went on. 6-2 last quarter. He scored 4, 3, 4, and then 6 So it looks like things are just tightening up and sharpening up in their shooting. Italy are through to the last 8. Australia into classifications, 17-6, the final score. Well, we've don't play with that. We have hat tricks aplenty here. We have De Fulvio, we have Canella, and we have De Sommer, but I think as a neutral onlooker, I go for Francesco De Fulvio every time. 57% shot efficiency at the end for the Italians, which is creeping up all the way through the game. Good action shots, 8 of 17. And they won all the sprints. Personal fouls didn't really impact on the game. There's nobody fouled out. In fact, only 19 fouls in the whole game, so it wasn't an overtly physical one. But Ford ended on 2, Negus ended on 2, Marziali did. In fact, Preciuti did get 3. Didn't see that happen. Preciuti did get 3, but there are a couple on 2. Didn't have any lasting impact on the game, which results in a very big win for the Italians. Just what they required at this stage after that 2-goal defeat by Spain in the last of the round-robin games. And what they'll love seeing on this little show reel of goals is they've come from all different angles, all different distances. There's been some picture book ones, there have been some tap-ins, there have been some redirections, there have been some palms. That's all of them quality, and that's brought a big smile to the face of Alessandro Campagna. And it's going to be the player of the game to Giacomo Canelli. There were 3 hat-trick scorers. They've opted to give it to the Italian number 6. So next up, it will be South Africa against the USA. We know 3 of the progressing quarterfinalists today. We'll get 1 more in the next hour and a half or so. But it is Italy, the defending champions, who may have had to play 1 more game than they really wanted to, but what it might have done is sharpen them up for what is to come. They will not be a team that people want to face in the last 8, or indeed in the last 4, should they make it. South Africa against USA is on the way here, last quarterfinal of the day.
Cousins, one of them is Australian, the other one is Hungarian, but actually they both speak English and Hungarian. And the funny part is that the lady is supporting Hungary and the little man is supporting